Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and discovering that every single person in your town had vanished. No screams, no warning, no signs of a struggle, just silence. At first, you would assume there had been some kind of mistake. Maybe there had been an evacuation. Maybe there had been an emergency. Maybe there was a perfectly reasonable explanation. But what if there wasn't? What if every street, every house, every building was completely empty? And what if nobody could explain why? Stories like this have fascinated people for generations. Most are eventually explained. Some turn out to be myths, others become legends. But every now and then, a mystery emerges that refuses to disappear. This is one of those stories. A story inspired by real events, abandoned settlements, unexplained disappearances, and mysteries that continue to puzzle investigators to this day. It begins in a quiet American town, the kind of place where everybody knew everybody, the kind of place where children rode bicycles down peaceful streets. On the evening before the mystery began, everything appeared completely normal. Families gathered around dinner tables, televisions flickered behind living room windows, restaurant workers prepared to close for the night. The local diner served its final customers. Nothing suggested this would become the final normal night the town would ever see. Witness accounts described calm weather. No storms, no earthquakes, no emergency warnings, no signs of panic, no reports of violence. Nothing. Everything appeared exactly as it should. And that is what makes the story so unsettling. Because the most disturbing mysteries rarely begin with chaos. They begin with routine, with normality, with the expectation that tomorrow will be exactly like today. But tomorrow never arrived for this town. As dawn approached, the first hints of something strange began to emerge. A delivery driver traveling through the area later described an eerie feeling. The streets seemed unusually quiet. The town felt different. At first, he thought nothing of it. But as he continued driving, something felt wrong. There were no pedestrians, no children waiting for school buses, no shop owners preparing to open their businesses, no signs of life anywhere. The silence was impossible to ignore. When the sun finally rose above the horizon, the reality became impossible to deny. The streets were empty. Cars remained exactly where they had been parked. Front doors stood open. Newspapers rested untouched on driveways. Bicycles lay abandoned near front lawns. Everything suggested people should have been there. Yet nobody was. Some homes appeared frozen in time. Coffee cups sat on kitchen tables. Breakfast dishes remained untouched. Beds appeared recently used. Lights remained switched on. It looked as though people had left only moments earlier, as if they fully expected to return. But they never did. Investigators would later describe the scene as deeply unsettling, not because of what they found, but because of what they didn't find. There were no signs of violence, no evidence of forced entry, no signs of looting, no indication that a struggle had taken place. Nothing appeared broken. Nothing appeared stolen. It was as though an invisible hand had simply erased the population. As news spread, more people arrived. Police officers, reporters, curious onlookers, each expected to discover a simple explanation. Instead, every new observation created more questions. Schools were empty. Classrooms sat silent. Books remained on desks. Chalkboards still displayed unfinished lessons. Playgrounds stood deserted. Not a single child could be found. Not a single teacher. Not a single witness. The local shops were equally unsettling. Cash registers remained in place. Shelves remained stocked. Products sat untouched. Business owners had apparently vanished along with everyone else. Churches stood silent. Parking lots sat empty. The local shops were equally unsettling. Cash registers remained in place. Shelves remained stocked. Products sat untouched. Business owners had apparently vanished along with everyone else. Churches stood silent. Parking lots sat empty. And then came the question nobody could answer. Where had everyone gone? If hundreds of people had left, somebody should have seen them. Roads should have been crowded. Vehicles should have been missing. Yet investigators could find no evidence of any mass departure, no traffic records, no organized evacuation, no reports from neighboring communities, nothing. The deeper they looked, the stranger the mystery became. Within hours, rumors began spreading across the region. Some believed the townspeople had evacuated during the night. Others suspected a government operation. A few feared something much darker. Every theory seemed possible, because no theory had yet been disproven. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months, and still no answers emerged. Detectives spent countless hours examining records, property documents, employment files, telephone records, travel histories. Every clue seemed to lead nowhere. Every promising lead eventually collapsed, and the mystery only grew deeper. Some researchers believed the answer was simple. Perhaps the town had been abandoned gradually over many years. Others suspected something far more sinister. According to rumors, government officials knew something dangerous was approaching. Some claimed there had been contamination. Others believed there had been a military incident. A few even suggested classified experiments. According to these theories, the population had been quietly evacuated. The truth had been hidden. Records had been sealed. Evidence had been removed. Yet no solid proof was ever found. Then came the strangest theories of all. Stories of mysterious lights in the night sky. Reports of unexplained sounds. Accounts of strange events that no one could fully explain. Theories involving secret technology. Theories involving unknown phenomena. Most investigators dismissed these claims, but they could not completely eliminate them because the truth remained unknown. And when facts are missing, imagination fills the gaps. Every clue seemed to lead nowhere. Every promising lead eventually collapsed, and the mystery only grew deeper. Some researchers believed the answer was simple. Perhaps the town had been abandoned gradually over many years. Others suspected something far more sinister. According to rumors, government officials knew something dangerous was approaching. Some claimed there had been contamination. Others believed there had been a military incident. A few even suggested classified experiments. According to these theories, the population had been quietly evacuated. The truth had been hidden. Records had been sealed. Evidence had been removed. Yet no solid proof was ever found. Then came the strangest theories of all. Stories of mysterious lights in the night sky. Reports of unexplained sounds. Accounts of strange events that no one could fully explain. Theories involving secret technology. Theories involving unknown phenomena. Most investigators dismissed these claims, but they could not completely eliminate them because the truth remained unknown. And when facts are missing, imagination fills the gaps. The problem was that every theory created new questions, and none of them could explain everything. The more investigators searched, the less sense the story made, and that was when the mystery took an even darker turn. Investigators began to suspect they were overlooking something, a single clue, a missing piece, something small that could explain everything. But finding it proved almost impossible. Then one photograph attracted particular attention. The image appeared to show the town only days before the disappearance. People smiled at the camera, families stood together, children laughed, everything looked normal. As the years passed, rumors replaced facts. Facts became harder to separate from fiction. Each retelling added new details. Each generation added new theories. The mystery evolved into something larger than the town itself. Yet one question remained. If hundreds of people left, where were the records? Where was the evidence? Where was the explanation? Every investigation seemed to end the same way, with more questions than answers. Even today, one question refuses to disappear. What really happened here? Maybe it was a simple misunderstanding. Maybe it was a forgotten historical event. Or maybe the full story was never discovered. Perhaps the official explanation is correct. Or perhaps there are still parts of this story that were never meant to be found. So what do you think happened? Let us know in the comments. And remember, sometimes the most terrifying mysteries are not the ones we solve. They're the ones that remain unsolved forever.